And we are live. Hello, everybody, to Wednesday Night Fish Talk. How's everybody doing tonight? Chattanooga Ed, how you doing tonight?
I'm doing great. Thank you for having me on. It's pretty cool.
My pleasure for you to come and give me some of your time for us to sit here and chit chat tonight. Who we got on tonight? Paul McCartney, how you doing? Sig or Side, I can never say his name right. Florida Fish Rescue, how are you doing tonight? Oh yes, that was so true. Have you watched Florida Fish Rescue yet?
Yeah, they're cool.
Really nice guy. I was his first live stream he ever did. He said he was horrible and stiff.
Oh, what? How close is he to you?
He's
Like in real life?
about 2 hours, I think.
Okay. It's fun finding people in your own state. You know, I've found a whole mess of them in my state, so it's cool.
Oh yeah, you can find tons of. I mean, you'd be surprised how many people will be in your area. They do the same thing you do.
Yeah.
Richard Stan, how you doing? Darlene, how you doing? Bold Mama and Swampy Acres. Deborah, PB, what's up, PB? Jay Watts. We got every 22 already.
That was Scotty's Aquatics. I saw Scotty on there, and I just wanted to show him. I got a sticker today.
Danikin, Greg the Guppy Guy, Buffalo Photo. If I miss you, I'm sorry, guys. I'm going through it really fast. Alice K, Monster Fish Gal, Muppet, Pepkins, Third Coast. How y'all doing? I think I said Danikin Scott. PB, thank you for throwing out the link. Total Tropicals. So let's get this rolling, Chattanooga Ed. For the people that don't know you, where are you from? Even though your name kind of lets us know.
Yeah, well, I'm from Chattanooga, but originally I'm from Kansas City, and I got to congratulate your Bucks for beating my boys. It hurt me. It hurt.
Yeah.
But
I should have brought my hat tonight. I got my championship hat.
I was going to even bring my hat from last year. I forgot.
Why? You would not been able to go live with me. I would have been like, oh, he never showed up.
No, you beat the old champ. That's good. You didn't beat a schmuck.
It was a good game. Two good teams, but you know, they had a point to prove.
I did a lot of crying.
Oh, a lot of crying, man. So how long you been in the hobby?
Oh boy. Well, my dad bought my first Molly home for me, I think when I was like 4 years old. And he bought just a little fish bowl like this big. He bought a gold one for my sister and a black one for me. And we put them in there, and he filled it with tap water. And the next day they were dead. And I remember us flushing them. And then something clicked in my dad's head, and he went crazy on fish. And he started getting lots and lots of guppies and cory cats, and he was breeding them left and right and selling them to fish stores and stuff in the Kansas and Missouri area. And that's where I got my love for it. So I've been almost in it for like 40 plus years. Crazy.
And so your dad caught the fever, and then you caught it right after, huh?
Oh yeah. I loved it from the beginning. I really did.
Fish Rescue said, which Kansas? Missouri or Kansas?
I was on Kansas City, Missouri side. I was in it was real weird because my front yard was in Kansas City, Kansas, or Kansas City, Missouri, but my backyard was in a town called Parkville. And so like when the power would go out, everybody in my neighborhood wouldn't have power except for us. And somehow we were on a different grid than everyone else. So they'd be coming to my house for water and taking showers and everything. Fun times.
So you're an Aquaman fan.
I love all the superheroes, and Yep, I love Aquaman and anything with water. I love. I really do. I love all the sea monsters and stuff. I've got like a tattoo of a sea monster there. I don't I'm just addicted to anything that's water related, I guess. I don't do any saltwater fish tanks though, do you?
No, I don't do saltwater.
Yeah, so we're both freshwater guys. Someday
Yeah,
maybe.
We're both live bear guys too, because I've been back to back with, talking to a lot of people with cichlids, because I kind of been getting a little bit into the cichlids, even though my favorite fish is an angelfish. That's my number one.
Yep.
Me and my wife, we love angelfish. And then the next thing is swordtails. But we're real big in live bears. So I'm like, finally got somebody here that does some live bears, so we can talk some live bears tonight.
Yeah, I've got one type of swordtail. I've got some red swordtails. Now, yours, I saw you did a short. They have like black tails. Those are really neat.
The red wag. The red wag.
Red wag. That I see. Mine are just solid, and I really like that. That's really cool. And then I've got Swordtail Guppies.
Okay. Now the red solids that you have, are they more of a velvet or more of a brick color red?
They're more of the velvet. They're more of the bright red.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Yeah, because you got the red velvets and then you got the red bricks. Because I do the red velvets too, the solid red velvets
with the black eyes.
Yep.
Yeah, I've seen some people have red ones that are like albino. I think they have the red eyes.
Yep, you got the red albinos.
Red-eyed fish kind of creep me out. I know that sounds messed up, but they just do.
So, how many tanks you have right now?
I have about 60 of them going right now. I'm going to be adding a few more. I'm going to do my first sump system. Mm-hmm. And so I've got 255s I'm going to put on the wall facing me. And I'm going to do Daisy Rice fishing one, and then I'm going to move my Bichers from their 40 breeder into the 55. And then I'm going to practice an Adonis in my 40 breeder.
Okay.
But most of my tanks are all 20-gallon, 20 longs or 10 gallons or 5s. I grow my fry up in the 5s, or like if it's a boy that just can't catch a girl, I have to put them in the small tanks because it gives the boys like a head start on the girls to be able to hit them. Mm-hmm. It'll hit them, but you know what I mean.
Keep it PG.
We don't condone violence.
No domestic violence.
Yeah. Trust me, these girls like it. Well, actually, I don't know if they do because they run from them in the 10 gallons. Oh, well. Don't want to think about it.
How many different strands of guppies are you keeping right now?
Too many. I think I have about 17.
17 strains.
Yeah, and I'm going to be getting, I think, 2 more on Friday from Tiffany White. She's a big angel person, and she needs to make some room, so I said I'd help her out with her guppies. So she's from Nashville, so pretty cool.
Now, have you
Sorry.
Have you been collecting in your local area?
I have not in my local area. I have collected down there in Florida, though. Near you. Father Fish took us out when I went down with Danikin and Fisher and Fever. We went down and he took us to a couple of places, and I've got some Mollies that they're F1s and the originals, and we got them from the Mineral Springs. Do you know where that is? Mm-hmm. Well, there was probably 2 million of these Mollies all in this little bitty area, and they were all emaciated and everything. I think they were probably about to collapse, because there's just so many in there. But we pulled about 110 out, and we thought we were pulling them out for Father Fish. And he said, "Oh no, they're all for you." So we brought them up, but we didn't have any minerals or salt or anything in that 10 or in the 5-gallon bucket with all those fish. So we lost most of them. It was kind of a bummer. We lost about 80%. And then I hit them with a bunch of salt, and now I've winged them off the salt, and they're doing fine. Now, I've got lots of eggs. I need to send some to Kenny actually right now. And it's kind of neat because we were told they were red, or not red, green sailfin mollies. But as they're getting more, like I feed them the omega-1 and I feed them brine shrimp, and they're starting to golden up. There's some that are like almost turning like gold on their bellies. It's really neat. I've never seen mollies like this.
First is the food, and second, whenever they get that high protein food that helps with the color red, those mollies, some wild live bears will actually get a little like orangey gold color to it because it's starting to bring out the red in them because of the food. But those are regular wild sailfin mollies that you got. I mean, we got the regular ones like the one you got, and then we got some that they'll have like black spots on them a little bit.
Yeah, ours are just solid silver, but they're really, I think it's neat. So, Kenny, remember that. Give them some high protein stuff. See, I give my guppies, they get to eat what the guppies eat. And I'm always giving them the high protein. So that's pretty cool. I didn't know that that's what's happening, but I appreciate that.
Oh, no problem. Now, you ever thought about breeding that with another type of molly, like a regular molly that has nice colors? You'll get that same sailfin body, but you'll get the color if you breed the male is wild and the female is the colorful ones.
Oh,
you get
awesome.
Better rate.
Well, I've got a bunch of mollies in a 120 in my living room. I love all live bears. And they're they're originally all supposed to be liar tail orange, but there was one that had one black spot on it when I bought it. And since then, I didn't call it. And since then, now I've got all sorts of different amounts of blacks on their body. And one's a solid black one now. It's crazy. It's just, I wish I would have taken photos over the last 2.5 years of every day, the color, the new colors that were coming out. But I just can't call them. I just love them too much to call these guys.
I mean, pretty much you did what a lot of people have done. Those orange ones, that happened, and then they call them gold dust mollies. They come out orange and black. They call them gold dust mollies. That's where the gold dust came from. If you don't call them, if you call them, then you try to keep them more orange, more pure. It's better, but you always got to keep mixing in new blood into them.
You see, and I haven't mixed any new blood into them either. So, well, then that's good. I just having fun. And the mollies, they were kind of one of the first fish that I got when I first moved down here. Was I just wanted to test out the water and everything. And I thought, most people think I'm crazy putting mollies in a 120, and it's like, I don't care. And I really like them.
Oh, yeah, they're great. I think they're a very underrated fish. A lot of people overlook unless you're kind of a beginner and you get in the hobby. You go to your big box store, they always have them there. But those ain't the best ones, out there. But there is some really nice mollies out there. They're stunning.
Yeah. And you see, that was my first tank I did is a planted tank. And now I have plants in every tank I own. I absolutely love plants. But it was my first one, so I was learning. And those mollies really help keep that thing clean. Because, they'll munch on the hair algae. Because I remember that piece of hair algae just kind of wiggling in the water. And this one molly went like a spaghetti.
Oh, yeah.
Right up there. People don't give them enough credit, but they're pretty cool.
No, they don't. Now, in your area, have you seen the chocolate sailfin mollies yet?
I have not seen any of those.
I've been seeing them down here, and they're pretty neat. Chocolate color, big, just like the one you had, big sailfin on them and everything, but they're a nice chocolatey brown to them. And they have red eyes, but you don't get the red eyes, but most of them will come out with red eyes. I've been noticing that.
Well, I shouldn't say I don't like red eyes. I prefer not. Maybe if it goes along with their body, it's okay.
Now, what's
Like,
your favorite live bear of all?
Oh boy. Well, see, now everybody's gonna say it's guppies because I love guppies, and I also have a lot of inlers. But it's probably swordtails. They were my first live bear that, as a kid, that I did on my own, because like my dad was always doing guppies, and then he would get store credit, and let me go and buy fish, and then I would get the yellow, the original yellow ones. I don't think they were pineapple, but they were just yellow, and I would start breeding those, and then they would I would trade those in. So I really love the sword, and I know I like the swordtail just because of the name. As a little boy, swords are awesome, so that's why I had swordtails, I'm sure. But so there's always a weakness in my heart for swordtails. They're slow growers and they're kind of big, so I can just do a lot more with the guppies quicker. Have in a smaller space. But I would like to do some swords in a pond, or not a pond, but a tub in the summertime.
Yes, they'll do great outside. They'll grow a lot faster too for you outside.
Now,
just keep giving them that good food.
Yep. Well, one of my tubs last year, I had a major problem. I had these little bitty frogs. They're called Tennessee gray tree frogs. They're about the size of your pinky nail. But I had hundreds of them in my tank, and I think they ate every fry I had in that tub. Because my other tub, I pulled out I put in 40 guppies at the beginning of the year. I pulled out about 4,000 at the end. But the other one, I pulled out about 200 guppies. And I think it was those little frogs eating them all. But my problem is I have like the stuff that you put over the tub to keep birds out of your trees, your fruit trees. And so it's got holes about like that. So that way the dragonflies can't get into it. But those little frogs have no problem. So I was thinking about doing something more like what you guys have over your lakes or your ponds at the farm. That it's kind of like a black mesh.
Yep.
Now, does sun go through that okay?
Yes. And for anything that you're gonna do small, I don't know if you saw a couple years ago, I did some round containers outside, and I use the screen material like you use for your screens. Go buy your roll of that and cut it out to the shape of your pond and put it there. Sun will still goes through it and everything. It's made to be outside, that type of material, and the animals won't get in.
Okay. Well, see, I was actually talking about it today with my dad, and he was talking about maybe screens would be good. So I'll do that, and I'll go back to that old video from a few years ago.
Yeah, screens work good, and if you ever find what's it called, like the nets that they use to play volleyball and stuff, that material, if you could find somebody getting rid of one, something like that, you could use that too, because it's made to be outside, but the sun will still go through it and everything. And they're the squares are a little bit bigger than the screen, but if you're not worried about if the frogs don't fit, because we don't have tiny frogs like you guys have down here, we got bigger frogs. If they don't fit through that, that'll work perfect too. But I think screen might work the best for you.
Cool. Well, I think I'll go over to Tractor Supply and see if they have some screen tomorrow. Check that out.
They usually sell it by the roll.
Okay.
Sometimes they have small rolls, like if you have to do like a small repair, and sometimes that'll cover. Like, how big is your container you're using?
I'm doing 110-gallon ones, tubs. I don't know. They're like maybe 3 foot by 4 or 5 foot. But I mean, that'd maybe work perfect if I got a 3-foot screen, and maybe I take some 1x2s or something and tack it to that.
Oh yeah,
I appreciate that.
No problem, man. That's what we're here. We gotta help each other out, give each other ideas, because some people are gonna run into something. Somebody's done it before, and it's good to, talk to each other and give each other ideas to figure out this stuff, so everybody keep having fun in the hobby.
For sure. Yeah. Well, last year was my first year doing the tubbing. Do you know who Bob Taylor is? I mean, Bob's everywhere, but he lives real close to me. And he was doing tubs or a tub like 3 years ago. And I was like, I'm going to do that as soon as I can find a house to live in. And I finally found a house. So I did the tubs, and it was awesome. And last year I just did 2 because I wanted to, and I just put in real generic guppies because I didn't want to put a really nice line in and then mess up. But this year I'm going to do my steelheads and a couple other fish and just have a lot of fun with it. I've been trying to grow enough guppies that I can split their colony in half, because I don't sell guppies. I just look at them. So, like I've just got a whole bunch of Japanese blue tails right here. And, I'd like to try, I've got 2 tanks of Japanese blue tails. So I'd like to put one of my tanks of Japanese blue tails out there and see what happens. I think that'd be neat. And
so what's going to happen to all these fish? You're going to just have to add more tanks when you bring them inside for the winter?
Well, I have thought about that, because I do have another room that's empty that I could do. But maybe I'll give them to James from Fish Room, and he sells them he sells fish on his Get Gills website, or not Get Gills. I love Get Gills, but on his Fish Room Fever website, he sells some fish. So maybe I'll give them to James and see if he can sell them. I don't know, or maybe I'll just use them as trade bait at swaps and stuff.
Yeah. Now, are you part of your local club out there?
When I first got here, I was in the St. Louis club. And then when I came here, we didn't have a club. And so I investigated, and it turned out they had a club, and everybody wanted to be the president, and power shifted and everybody quit, I guess. So they've started a new one where they've just started little swaps once a month. And a new guy from up north came down, and I guess he's trying to organize it, but it's really hard to find locations with the whole sickness thing going on. But I think once everything goes back to normal, we might actually have a club going on in Chattanooga, which would be pretty cool. But I do belong to, I joined the Indianapolis club. Indy's about a 5-hour drive. That shows you how much I love clubs. So I'll drive to Indy for a club. It was between that and Cincinnati. And Cincinnati's about 4.5 hours for me. So it was just, I know more people in the indie club, because Rob, it's right before you. He's in that club, and Haley is in that club from Oddball Aquatics, and Lucas and Tom Patterson. So there's a whole mess of people I know in that club that I really like. And so that's why I decided to go with the indie.
Okay. Wow, that's a drive. I'm surprised how many people, because there's a lot of fish tubers out of Tennessee, and there's not a club there. There's not a big organized club there. That's shocking.
Well, I tried to start we started a thing called the Tennessee Fish Mafia, and it's more the YouTubers, but we got all together and we had a blast in Knoxville, and we were going to do it every 3 months and do a different city, because well, now you had Ben Ochart on a couple of weeks ago. He's now a Nashville guy. I need to talk to him someday to see if he wants to hang out with us. But we've got Catfish Terry, Sean Peck, River Life, James, Bob, White, Tiffany White, Ginger Graves. So we have and then a Roe from Rose Aquatics, Tennessee, Aqua, the Bobby. So we have a whole mess of YouTubers.
Oh yeah.
And so we get together and we have such a fun time. So it's kind of like a club. And so we do have that kind of too. We have a YouTuber club. And we invite everybody to come to it. So like Susan came up to see Danikin because Susan's just in Alabama. She's only about a 2-hour drive. The fish mom. So yeah, it is weird. We don't have an official club in the state, but we do have a lot of YouTubers. But that might be why we have so many YouTubers, because we don't have a club to talk to people.
That is true. That might be because Florida is such a big state, and we got a decent amount of people from Florida. There are, on YouTube and everything, but we have clubs everywhere. There's clubs almost every hour drive. You could find, a club. They're spread out, but they're everywhere. There's a lot of great clubs down here.
Yeah, Atlanta has a couple of clubs, but they're all saltwater stuff.
Oh yeah.
So Atlanta's only an hour and a half for me, but it didn't seem worth it to me.
Now, have you been up to Dustin's in Kentucky?
I haven't yet. I need to. I've met him at Aquatic Experience, and he's a super nice guy, but I haven't seen him yet. I'd like to someday.
Have you made it to Aquashella yet?
Nope. We had our tickets for Dallas last year, and they canceled twice on us. So we've transferred our tickets to Orlando. So I'm going to I'll be at the Orlando one for sure. And Florida is a pretty awesome state, so I'm hoping that they won't cancel it. So,
the way things are looking now, there is looking that things are going to be, hopefully, the wheels turning to things go normal, Yeah. We just got to stay positive. That's all I say about that. We just got to stay positive.
For sure.
Now, are there any good LFS in your area?
Well, yeah, it's kind of funny because Knoxville has two super ones. They've got one of them, they claim they're the biggest one in the South. It's called the Aquarium, the Knoxville Aquarium. And it kind of supplies a lot of other fish stores. But then there's also Aquamarine. Oh my gosh, the guy gave me a t-shirt. I should know it. Well, that's the one that James goes to all the time. And I love going to him too, because he's a super nice guy. But I always try to give my guy love. Aquatic Aesthetics. He just opened up a year ago, and so I'm doing everything I can to make sure he stays open because I love having a good fish store near my house. And he's still about a 45-minute drive for me, but it's well worth it. And he does everything that you can ask. He also has a channel too, so it's small right now. He's just starting up, but yep. He's just a great guy, and I really like his stuff. I asked him if he could get some Repashy, and now he has a whole shelf of Repashy. So, he's so good to me. Anything I ask for, he gets it. So.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah, I'm pretty lucky.
Big selection.
Yeah. So, but he still, he started off really, really small. Corey sent him a letter on how to do it, and he's really followed what Corey said. And he started off real small, and I think he's expanded almost 3 times in just the last year and a half. So, I've got 2 of his tanks that's 4 tanks each. So I've got 8 tanks from him that he just didn't like how they looked in his shop anymore. So he sold 2 sets, or a set to me and a set to Bob Kaler for next to nothing. But I mean, we're probably pretty good customers to him too. So, but
so Bob's very close to you.
Yeah, it's kind of weird because Bob's 22 miles from me, but because of the mountain, it takes about 45 minutes to get to his house because it's you curve all over the place to get to his house, and that's all of Chattanooga is all over the place, in the mountains. So.
Yeah, Kenny was telling us about that drive that he had to do with you guys through the mountain. I heard you guys have fun.
So much fun. Next time Kenny does one of those trips, I might try to meet him somewhere and just hitch a ride and hang out with him as much as possible. It was so much fun.
Yeah, I mean, I thought that was pretty neat how he got together and just did this big old tour and just started stopping at everybody's places and then the way he documented it too, it was pretty neat to show people, his experience with that.
Yeah, he's got the only actual like fish room tour of my fish room. Nobody else has done it, and I haven't even done it yet because I keep waiting until I get everything perfect, And he came when it was about half done.
I think the most people have seen this was behind me. I haven't done a video of my whole fish room because every single time I'm changing something. I don't like this, I'm moving this here, and it's like, I don't know. One day I'll get to it.
Here, give you guys a quick mini tour. There. Oh, I just bothered the cat.
So what was this, in your basement or bedroom?
The basement.
It's your basement?
Yeah, and there's not a lot of basements here in Chattanooga. I think maybe not too many basements in the South in general, but when I was like telling the lady, the realtor, what I wanted, I said, I really want a basement. She's like, oh, why do you need a basement? And I would say for a fish room, people think I'm crazy. So I'd say in case of tornadoes. I came from the Midwest where you have to have a basement because of the tornadoes. Yeah. And I think Chattanooga's only been hit by a couple of tornadoes ever, but sorry about the cat.
Oh,
he's a good ball.
Now, what does your family think about you in the hobby?
What I think everybody loves fish in my family. Mm-hmm. So like, I had my own place and I had built a house in St. Louis to build a fish room someday. And then I hurt my back really bad. And I had to leave, or the surgeon said I'd be in a wheelchair if I kept working. I used to play hockey and softball, bowled. He told me I had to give up everything. So basically I threw myself 100% into fish because that's something I can handle with fish. Chattanooga. That's what I ought to start calling my goofy cat. But so I moved down here and I stayed with my mom and dad for about a year. And I was looking for places to live. And I found this house, and it's like way too big of a house for me to afford and everything. But my dad hated his house. And so what we did is we bought this together and we split it in half. And so, Skipper. Awesome. So that's what we've done is like, this house was already two houses. Like I've got my own water, electric, everything separate. I've got my own kitchen, everything separate. But yet I'm still here and I can take care of my mom and dad because like my mom can't really drive at all anymore. And my dad can't drive at night. He's also losing his hearing. So whenever they have doctor's appointments, I take them, and it just worked out really good. But my dad loves the fish. So like he invited all of his friends from his church group to come over 2 weeks ago and tour my fish room. So I had like all these 80, 90-year-old men asking me questions about guppies. And when people come in, they say, this looks like a fish store.
Oh, yeah, I bet they
That's what I always get.
You can start charging admission on Sundays after church, $1. Come visit the Chattanooga Ed's aquarium.
Yeah. But my dad loves fish, and I took him to the aquatic, or what was it? The aquatic experience. Is that what it was called?
Yes.
It's terrible. It hasn't been that long, but I took him to that in New York, and he almost bought a jellyfish tank. He was going to drop $2,000 on a jellyfish tank. And I'm like, wow. Dad, wait. I think Mom would have got a little upset if he brought home a jellyfish tank.
Wow.
So crazy. I couldn't believe it. But I've offered to set up shrimp tanks or, different things that he might think are more interesting that would be real easy for him to take care of or something. But I don't know. I think he just prefers to come down and look at my fish. And, when I leave town, though, he never can keep it straight what to feed what fish. And like I'll see jumbo bloodworms in my daisy rice fish tank. It's like, yeah. Oh well.
Hey, at least he tried.
Yeah. Yeah.
At least.
Well, I had one tank that was just filled with purple steelheads fry. I mean, I bet you I had 1,000 fry in there. And he dumped so much. He must have dumped almost half a container in there. All the fry were dead and stuck to the food because they just kept eating and they would just die and then stick to it. And it was so gross.
Oh man!
It's like, I don't know. He's just got to that point where he's forgotten how to do it. I don't know. Yeah, he used to have these fish.
Mm-hmm.
As long as he's having fun. But he loves to help me do water changes. I have him on the other end with the faucet, and I tell him when to turn it off for, the python when I go from thing to thing. And I gave him the end once to see if he'd like to do, pour in the water. But he would like put the thing right down the substrate and mess up the substrate. And I'm like, oh my gosh, man. Oh well.
Sucking up all the good bacteria from my substrate.
Oh, but he absolutely loved those tubs last summer.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, come on, Nico, sit down or something. You're right in my face. Well, he loved watching those guppies all summer long last year. And I get the ones with the metal top, so they're really pretty swimming at the top, looking down on them. So,
you ever thought of doing a koi pond?
We used to raise koi, well, not koi, but goldfish in Kansas City also. And we made our own, and it wasn't very big. It was like maybe 6 foot, but then it went about 6 foot down, so it could just freeze way over, and they just stay at the bottom. And I would get those little goldfish, fancy tail ones and things like that, and I'd drop them in there. And after 1 year, they'd be, about the size of a softball, and I could trade those in for food, for anything. The fish stores loved them. So I've got like a 8-man hot tub right outside my porch in the back, and I'm thinking about turning that into like a little mini pond for goldfish and just probably fancy goldfish.
You're gonna keep the hot water flowing for the winter? You're gonna run the hot tub for them?
I don't think I'm gonna have much problem with the freezing over here like I would up north, but I was gonna have like a little waterfall or something for them and do that. But I saw you guys have some beautiful koi at your farm. Awesome. Those are awesome.
Oh yeah. Unc has a lot of nice kois over there, and that's one of his big fish that he loves to breed. That and the goldfish.
I've never had goldfish breed for me. I don't know. I must be doing something wrong, but I haven't really tried. But
I mean, you see, to me, I thought a lot of this stuff was super, super hard to do. But when you really start talking to these old breeders, because the old breeders didn't have all the fancy stuff we have now to breed, and there's a lot of old breeders that will actually show you how to breed these fish easily and very simple, and it's successful. They've been doing it for such a long time. And it's amazing. Like, after you find out how easy goldfish is to breed, you'll be like, why I couldn't figure that one out,
But And I believe you, because there was a goldfish and koi farm in St. Louis that I used to live kind of close to. And I mean, they were able to just let it freeze over and everything and didn't have to worry about, it's St. Louis might actually in Missouri might be more weather like Japan than what you're actually in,
Yeah.
So you can breed those guys just about anywhere, I think. It's pretty cool.
Oh yeah, you can. And like when you did the trip and you got to meet Father Fish and everything, I known the man before he became the YouTube sensation. You know what I mean? Because he founded a club down here, and I had gotten to know him for a while. And he has a lot of knowledge. You know what I mean? Like he has a lot of knowledge, and those old guys, they have that old knowledge. I love the way he talks about the deep substrate. People forgot about keeping the deep substrates and everything, and he's like a master at doing that.
Yeah, you see, my dad didn't believe in substrates at all when he bred. He had all slate bottom tanks, and but I just about have deep substrate. I have father fish saying now everywhere. I mean, it's crazy. I bet you 45 of my tanks are father fish tanks. I mean, the plants grow crazy. The water is always better in them. It just, I absolutely love them.
Yeah, because it's an older way. They didn't have the fancy filtration that we have. So back in the days when they kept the hobby, like I actually did a live stream talking about the history of fish keeping. And when they found out plants, were like, oh, having plants in my tank works and helps me and everything. That's when they started learning to make it more into a natural ecosystem. And it works perfect.
Yeah, I just was never able to keep plants until LED lights came out. I never invested in the expensive plant lights, because I've always been kind of a cheap guy. So I just had normal lights over my tank so you could see the fish, and I put plastic in there. And but now I don't have any plastic tanks or plastic plants. I've got more guppy grass and moss right now than I can shake a stick at. I'm looking around. I got 3 tanks where I've got moss that's almost grown to the top where I need to break it down and split it up. And guppy grass, I pull that out. I throw it in my garden outside because it grows so thick. It's crazy.
Oh, yeah. I got so much guppy grass. It's ridiculous. Yep. Now, what's your favorite plant do you like keeping?
Well, probably, boy, that's really hard. Probably my favorite is Kabumba. It's native. It's just so pretty. I don't know if it's ideal for guppies. I mean, I think it's good for the guppies. I like jungle. I love all my val I have. I've got lots of types of vals. I got corkscrew val. I love how val just grows like crazy. But I mean, nothing beats a big old sword, so it's really hard for me to say one plant over another. RB. I got to hang out with RB last week. That was pretty cool. On a stream.
On his stream?
Yep. It was on a Rico Stand stream, but he interviewed RB.
Okay.
And I got to be
there. That's pretty cool. You guys had a good time. I guess sure. I missed so many live streams because I'm running 100 miles an hour, and I'll be trying to catch up. And it seems like more keeps coming out as you're trying to catch up, and it's like I'm never going to catch up.
Yeah, I understand. I what I do is I watch a lot while I'm cleaning the tanks and stuff. Well, the next one that's on is Get Gills. And I can always put Dan on, and I know that I've got an hour and a half worth of work in so many tanks, before I have to pick the next person. So, yep, I totally understand.
Yeah, I noticed that there's a lot of people live streaming now. Like, there's live stream constantly going on morning to night now.
Yeah, and you see, I think you're much more of an expert than me. I mean, I do. I am I'm a goofy guy that loves fish. I've been doing it for years, but I don't have a club, so I've made this my club. I made my name Chattanooga Ed. I'm not from the South, but I wanted people to know where I lived so I could meet people. And since I did that, a lot of us found out we were from Tennessee just because of one goofy name, And but it's just great to be able to hang out and have fun. I love talking fish. I'm on 2 other streams. So I'm on one with Rico Stan where we just normally talk about comic books on Monday nights. And then on Friday afternoons, I do one where we talk about board games with Lefty. So I do a little bit more than fish, but I try. I think I'm a good co-host. I can ask a lot of questions when nobody else can think. But yeah,
I know how that goes because I've been learning how to do the live streams better. But if you look at some of my beginning one, I've been like I had a question and it just slips, and it's like, dang, that's when you need a co-host to kind of jump in sometimes.
Yep. And so, I have no problem being on a smaller channel and helping them out and doing that, and it's just a lot of fun. But then I also do it with James. And James and I, Fish Room Fever, I kind of always wanted to do like, how there's sports radio and stuff. Hey, thank you.
Uh-huh.
I used to always listen to live radio all the time. And now with podcasts, I've gone more to podcasts. But that's kind of what I want to do with James, because James knows a lot of the technical stuff on how to do everything. And I know the basics. I can just say what's worked for me, and what I've fed the fish, what I've done, filtration, whatever, or different sicknesses that I've ran into over the 40 years I've been doing it, just different things. But I never say I'm an expert. I'm just here sharing whatever little knowledge I have, but just having fun. And then James, he knows all the X's and O's. And I think we make a really good team. And we also have a lot of fun just driving around. We always try to find a restaurant that sells really good food. We found a place we went to Cincinnati for the swap up there. And so I'm like, okay, I got to find something that has some crazy food. And I found a place that does chili lasagna. So we went there, and that was weird. Cincinnati has some weird chili. It tastes like stuff you put on a hot dog or something. It's crazy.
It's not the normal chili, like hot dog chili more?
Yeah, no beans. I was like, we put beans in our he was like, what? Beans and chili? Never heard of it. It's like, I've never heard of chili that was just meat. But well.
Yeah, that's not chili. That's ground beef. You make taco meat.
Yeah. It had a weird spice to it, though, I'd never had before either. So I don't know what they're doing.
Now, what's the furthest you drove to go to one of these events?
Well, probably the aquatic experience was the farthest I've gone so far, because that was up in New York. And but really, see, I'm basically, I was forced to retire early. So I've got all the time in the world, so I don't mind going anywhere. I mean, not out of the country, but I wouldn't mind going anywhere. I'm looking forward to going to Florida for the Aquashella down there, and I've always planned on going down to see one of Father Fish's fish club meetings. I always wanted to do that. Maybe I would have seen you there. That would have been cool.
Yeah. Now, I think the aquatic experience was pretty neat. I got to look at some of the footage that a lot of people did. But this Aquashella, because everything's starting to open back up, I think a lot of people are going to be there. I think it's going to be huge. I think you're going to run into a lot of YouTubers.
That Cincinnati swap I went to just this last weekend, they normally get like a big ballroom, but they thought it would be a lot smaller because of everything. So they just got 2 small rooms, and they normally have about 150 people. So they were guessing less than that. They had over 300. It was crazy. You had to walk in a line and just follow the line around, and you couldn't go back. Oh, fishy. See, I was actually born in St. Louis, and then I moved back to St. Louis when I was like 13. So I lived most of my life in St. Louis. And that's why I have the red beard, because in St. Louis they had the Rams, and they would always give me a hard time about my Chiefs being bad, so I dyed my beard red for my Chiefs. And yeah, that was just kind of a thing I did back in St. Louis. But this line went all around, and then you couldn't go backwards. So once you left, you had to go to the back of the line and wait 2 hours to go through it again.
Oh, and man.
I missed out on Eric Bodrock Corey's. Corey Katz. I didn't know it was Eric Bodrock because he had a mask on and everything. And he was selling 12 for $25. They were like the orange laser ones, but they had a partial orange. Like, they were just really cool. And like James, he's really into plecos, and he said he had some new type of pleco there that hadn't had a name yet. And James kind of rolled his eyes like, yeah, this guy's just breeding fish in his garage. It turned out it was Eric Bodrock, and James was kicking himself for not buying the pleco. It was funny. But
have they kicked the name yet? What type of pleco was it, kind of?
I didn't even look at it. I don't know. I wasn't paying attention. I was looking at the Corey Cats.
Did you buy anything while he was there?
Well, I bought 12 Synodonis, the Pepsi Cola. I always want to say Pepsi Cola, but it's not Pepsi Cola. But I got the little. They get about that big. They breed on full moons. They're neat little Synodonis, and I got some really cool snails. I got some devil thorn snails. I've never seen those for sale before, so I got some of those. I got some guppies, because I always get guppies. And I bought a big piece of wood. Yep.
Man, they got overcrowded. It seemed like if you passed the person you wanted to buy something, you probably was not going to get that fish later on.
Right. Well, basically, and if you were buying something, you'd have to go catch up online, so you'd miss somebody getting to your spot back. It was just crazy. I mean, it was great to have that many people there, and I shook a lot of people's hands, met a lot of people. We gave out stickers because that's what we were going for. We wanted to shoot a video and meet people, but we really weren't allowed to even shoot a video because normally we go all over the place talking to everybody, but we weren't able to get back in till the end because we stayed at that hotel, so we were first in line. And so we went through it all, and then by the time we went back, people were all sold out going home. So we didn't get hardly any interviews or anything. But oh well, that's how it goes. It was fun. I'd do it again.
Who else you ran into out there?
Well, the Pattersons were there. Tom Patterson was there, and his wife and son. Bill Witt was there, and Rockin' Fish was there. Oh, and Rockin' Fish gave me a pair of Patriot guppies. So I've got some guppies from him too, and he also gave me a pair of Green Hulk guppies for Bob Kaler. So okay, Bob has those. So I think that's. Gosh, if we met somebody else, I apologize. Oh, man. We're hoping to meet Stephen Conroy, and I always mess up his name. Maybe it's Conrad. Stephen Conrad? Conroy. Well, we're supposed to meet Stephen, and he didn't come out, or he was wearing a mask and we didn't see him. There was another guy, Fishbox, and he wanted to meet us and take us to his fish store afterwards and do a video at his fish store. Well, we never met him. Maybe he didn't see our masks, because we had masks on too. Most people just recognized me from the beard. So, but we just went to his shop and we shot his shop. It was the prettiest fish store I've ever been to. It had couches. It was crazy.
It had couches?
It had couches. Fancy. And,
wow. I was about to ask you, what's the best LFS you've been to ever since you be traveling?
Well, that's probably the prettiest. Boy, that's really hard because I've been to so many. I need to start documenting that or something, or writing it down.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. That's going to be a new one for me to do. I'm going to start rating them all. Because I do this bad thing. You know how the Yellow Pages and Yelp, you can put a review for whatever store you go to?
Yeah.
Every fish store I go to, I pretty much always give 5 stars. Because I want everybody to go to their fish stores, their local fish stores. So I really can't go back on all my reviews and say, you know, oh, this one got 4, this one got 5, because I give them all 5s and say, please go, or it's awesome. I say.
Now everybody's gonna start inviting you to their fish store.
That works. But that was by far the prettiest one I ever went to. It was called Aquatic Artists or something. It was something like that. I shot a video. I'll put it together, and I don't know if it'll be any good, but they were so nice. They fed their dragon eel for us. We got to see him eat in with all his neat teeth. And the top row had a real bad glare, and the little girl that worked there held styrofoam lids behind me to block the light. Oh, I felt bad, but they were really nice. But you're right. I need to start writing down all the different fish. And
yeah, because I mean, you never know who would like to, check them out. And I understand what you're doing, giving them 5 stars because we want them to support your LFS and everything. But too, we want to know, which one just blew your mind away. When as a fish keeper, some stores we walk in and be like, okay, this is pretty nice. We enjoy them. But sometimes you really want to, document the ones that just blow your mind away completely. There's some amazing ones out there.
You're so right. I really need to do that. See, I think more just the common person that doesn't know where fish stores are try up those ratings. I want that to always be better than PetSmart.
Well, we're getting towards the end. I would like to remind everybody, if you haven't subscribed to Chattanooga Ed, I know PB's been throwing the link out there for me. Check out his channel. I know you just hit 1K. Everybody with big support to get you to 1K. So let's keep it going. Don't forget to subscribe to Chattanooga Ed. And if you're not subscribed to me, I don't know what's going on, guys. Come on, subscribe to the channel so we can have fun every Wednesday night. Oh, yeah, PB, hit that like button. Now, since we're getting to the end, I would like to ask you, what's a good piece of advice you could give anybody starting into this hobby? With your experience, what's one good piece of advice?
Take it slow. Don't go fast. Set your tank up and don't buy your fish the next day or the same day. Set up your tank and let it season for 2 weeks. Buy some live plants and get them, this is a trick that works for new people. Say you can't fish in there with your new plant because they'll pull it up or something. Let those plants get in there and grow, and then put your fish in there. And once you get that beneficial bacteria going, life is so much easier. It's just so many people mess up, and when they're brand new, throw the fish in the same day, and the fish all die.
Take it slow. Yeah. I mean, it's a good piece of advice because you just go to the store, you get a tank, you want to set it up, you throw water, throw fish. You're like, oh yes, I got a tank. Wake up in the morning, you got a square box full of water with dead fish.
Yep. For sure.
My advice, Buffalo Photo said, watch YouTube videos about cycling. Yep. Well, again, thank you for joining us and everything. I would like to let everybody know the website is back up and running. I am shipping again since weather's starting to become nicer in most areas. I have the website up and running, and on my Instagram, guys, I've been throwing a special this month where I'm selling 2 Amazon stores and 2 Bacopas for $25. That includes shipping. So you get 4 plants, $25, shipping included. And that's an Instagram special. So you guys go check it out on Instagram. Now, you have Instagram because we have talked on Instagram. What's your Instagram?
I don't even know. That's terrible. I would
know,
guess it's
guys.
Chattanooga
Ed.
Okay. Well, some people tell me that why is my name Yardo? And Yardo is my Facebook name originally. I played a video game like 15 years ago. And my ex-girlfriend said I had to have this Facebook page for this game I played. And so she made it. She used my name for the video game. And so but now I'm just Chattanooga Ed. So
yep, just Chattanooga Ed.
Yep.
Man, I really appreciate you hanging out with me tonight and with everybody coming to the live stream and, giving me an hour of your time and everybody giving us an hour of their time to watch us. So again, I appreciate you for joining us.
Oh, that's great. I really appreciate it. It was a lot of fun.
Any last words before we call it a night? Because I know Dan comes on next.
No, I really appreciate it. It's always a lot of fun to be able to hang out with you. Carlos, you're awesome. I really appreciate it. It's a good time.
Well, thank you, and everybody. And like always, tell a friend to tell a friend to tell a friend.